Right, well, the mayor of Ottawa declaring a state of emergency as Canadian truckers protest COVID restrictions and ramp up demonstrations in the Canadian capital. GoFundMe has shut down $8 million worth of fundraising amid police complaints, which has prompted the Freedom Convoy to seek charity elsewhere, including crowdfunding platform Tallycoin, which claims to be powered by Bitcoin. Joining us now to discuss is Anthony Diorio, co-founder of Ethereum and CEO of crypto wallet Jax. Welcome, Anthony. Thanks for joining us. So, at first, these truckers were protesting a vaccine mandate for drivers crossing the U.S.-Canada border. Now they want all COVID restrictions dropped. So what's the mood in Canada? How do people feel about these truckers?
Oh, well, that's a pretty generalized statement. I can only tell you what I kind of feel about it. And there's going to be people with all types of different appointments or different ways that they're thinking about this. So it's going to be a wide range of thoughts on this. For me, it's the specifics to me is that it's good to see movements sometime emerge. It's good to see people that are saying they're not happy with certain things. And I think it started out with the mandates, and it's probably have a bunch of other people stepping in to bring other types of concerns or things to the table. But the mood changes from person to person about what's actually happening here. From people on one side are saying that they should not be allowed to go and just take over the capital, and to others saying that they're not causing any harm or anything right now. So I think there's probably somewhere in the middle there that the majority will be thinking. But for me, it's good to see sometimes people that aren't happy. They're bringing forward their displeasure, and I don't think anybody's died, and it is causing a lot of havoc in Ottawa, and I think other cities now as well. But it's these types of things I think that can, if there's a certain repercussion of something, it is good to see these things happen so that people may think about things a little bit differently and know that this could happen with other things that potentially become imposed.
Yeah, certainly a mixed bag. A mixed bag of some obviously sympathize with the truckers, others are concerned about potential havoc. So the truckers have raised money through GoFundMe. The page was shut down. Now they're trying to raise money through Bitcoin on Tallycoin. They've raised about 10 BTC last time I checked. There could be more now over the past week. I wonder what your thoughts are on, how they're raising money through Bitcoin now.
So, I mean, platforms like funding platforms are a tool in order to get value or funds into the hands of people to carry out some type of purpose, whether it's done with Bitcoin or whether it's done in traditional means like something through GoFundMe. Each has its downsides, each has its positive things and things that need to be considered. On GoFundMe's side, you have tie-ins to Rails, which the average person is able to use. It can be funded through different mechanisms, and on the Bitcoin side, maybe a little more challenging for the truckers to use Bitcoin. I'm still not sure if it's been thought out very well how they're going to decide who gets it. But that's also the same problem with the GoFundMe. It's like who's making these decisions? How do you build trust on the people that are going to be carrying it out? And when I see this Bitcoin site, I mean, I look for signs of things that build trust, and I don't see it on this site. I mean, it's a paragraph that basically says let's fund this Freedom Convoy, but I mean, who's behind it? I know it's been come up people there, but how are they planning on getting and distributing these funds? Are the truckers going to be the type of people that'll be able to utilize Bitcoin? How would they convert? There's so many other questions that emerge, and a lot of times these things, if not done properly, we got 4,000 people that have committed to this Bitcoin raise here, but there's a lot of logistics and variables that I don't see that would allow me to provide trust in the site and trust that they're going to actually do something more meaningful than just raising up a vote for Bitcoin here because it solves the problem or makes GoFundMe obsolete, which I don't think is the case. Each things have goods and bads to it. Each side's have things, and both are going to struggle with how to disperse money into the hands of the people that are going to be utilizing it.
Yeah, I think I did want to ask you about that because how do you find signs for where the funds will ultimately go, if at all? I mean, as you said, you don't quite know. Like, what do you look for? Because, I mean, can anyone just show up with a trucker hat and say, "Well, my name is Fidelito Castro. I live at 24 Sussex, and please give me a Bitcoin." Is that how it works, or like,
how does it work? Even with GoFundMe, I mean, how is the distribution going to ensure that funds are being put into the hands of someone that, what is the criteria? Could someone just join this thing just as a way to get money? So there's logistical issues in either way that it's being done. But what I like to see is a website or a site that actually shows the people that you can build trust with. It shows messaging on the site of how we're going to do it, these things. And it really does not do a very good job, at least the Bitcoin one and the GoFundMe of building trust on the people behind it to be able to carry out the mission of getting these funds in the hands of the people that they really want to. And when I don't see those signs, it does lead me to concern that the people doing it haven't thought forward of that, because if they did, they'd bring that forward that to get more support, because that would build trust. And in both mechanisms, it's about trust of, should I be giving this to them and think that it will be utilized the way it is, or is this just a press release that's being utilized here to just gain more attention for a particular company, a particular project, a particular system even, and maybe the benefits of the system haven't been thought through very well. I don't know how many truckers are going to be able to use Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, is there anything in the back end that we could look at to see where things are headed, or addresses, wallets, et cetera, where we could look at it and say, oh, it's going here, it's going there, or is that right now not? Is that
I think
okay?
the easiest thing would be the organizers to come out and be more transparent, be more visible, more data, more information on the sites of what their intentions are, what they plan to do. Because, I mean, they have 4,300 people that have contributed here right now. Now, is that 4,300? Could it be one person giving in 10 cents 50 times? These is another downsides of these types of systems. You don't actually know who's giving the money in. So these 4,300 contributors may not even be that. And I'm not saying it is or isn't. It's saying that the systems do not provide for things potentially with transparency and other trust systems. And I don't really like the site because it's not making me trust it, because I don't see certain things I'd like to see on a site like that.
So Anthony, I guess just to rephrase what Lawrence was sort of asking, is there like a blockchain fixes this element to this problem, right? I mean, because the whole idea, is that like there should be ways to sort of like track where money is going, and I mean, is that in the future somewhere? Do you think for these for things like this in the future?
I think the first steps is to build trust with the people behind it by coming out and actually stating why they're doing this for their cause, what they're going to do with the money, what is their process for it. I don't think that needs any type of technical solution to start out with those things. On the technical side afterwards, if you want to see where things are going, I mean, it could require registering of people to certain things, and then there's going to people are going to push back against having to provide identifications and things like that. So there are solutions that will come out of these things, but there's got to be some type of balance with these, and there's not one solution that's going to fit everything here. And you have two sides of it. You have a system that can be shut down like GoFundMe, which is what's happened here, because it's not decentralized and because there could be amounts of pressure that are coming on GoFundMe to do this. Heck, it could have been the organizer that said, man, we didn't expect all this amount of money. We don't want to be responsible now for deciding how this is going to go out. Who knows? And then the other side, it's having people that are going to anonymously be able to donate. You potentially don't know too much about the people behind it. It's very difficult to see where the money is going to be spent. And yeah, technology solutions have to come out, but it's not just technology. It's also, how do individuals realize that to build trust and do it, they need to be leaders, and then to be leaders, they need to be visible. And I don't see any of that on the Bitcoin site here.
Yeah, to your point, Anthony, I was just looking at the Tallycoin site, and there's been a couple people opening up Canadian trucker charity sites. Another one I see is from Franco Filippelli, and he writes, I help truckers set up Bitcoin wallets and show how to use Bitrefill to buy stuff with your Bitcoin. I do this because I'm a trucker and want others to see how easy it is to use, and because I am Satoshi Nakamoto, who is John Galt. So exactly, I mean, who are these people and how are these funds being distributed?
You don't know it's not easy, you don't know how to trust. And I guess my whole purpose for wanting to come in and talk about this is because there's a lot of risks, and people might not understand it, the people that are contributing. If they are trying to contribute to something that they believe in, maybe they're not understanding that at the end of the day that it's not going to be as easy, and there are elements that are going to stop that from happening.
There are other fundraising efforts in other areas. For instance, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks and his allies have formed Assange DAO. They've raised about $38 million so far to aid the founder of WikiLeaks and for his court battles. So I wonder if forming a DAO is any better, or maybe there should be a trucker DAO, or it runs into the same problems.
Yeah, I mean, you could have rules that are built into the DAO in order to facilitate things and make governance on it better. And yeah, there's definitely ways that can be done. At the end of the day, it's still going to come back to trust. And the more anonymous things are, the less trusted they're going to be in it. The more people put their faces on things, the more that they might get exposed or they might have trouble. So it's somewhere in the middle that has to come together here in order to create better systems that are going to have benefits of both sides of it. And it's not a device of this or that mentality. I think it has to be something that taking the benefits of both sides to bring it together.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much for. Oh,
No, I was just going to ask, you mentioned before what it means for Canadians in general, seeing this kind of a protest. I'm wondering how the tech community itself in Toronto, in Ontario, and actually also across the country are looking at looking at this. I mean, obviously there's a divide between what goes on in Toronto and what goes on in Ottawa, just in terms of mentality. But is there a thought? Is there some sort of united idea that's happening with the tech communities in Canada? I mean, it might be difficult to find out, but what's your sense?
Yeah, that's really something that I just can't provide any insight on and say that there's a generalized consensus on the tech community. It comes back again to, all Canadians. It's just too generalized for me to really be feeling. I haven't felt anything in that aspect of tech coming forward recently over the last few weeks when this is happening and saying that tech should be doing this or there's a need for that. So sorry, but I just can't provide any details on that.